We interrupt this program now for a live breaking news report from your local ABC. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Uretsky. We're coming on the air at this hour because we're about to hear Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Sant's decision on whether or not he will file criminal charges against the 3 Pasco police officers involved in the fatal shooting of Antonio Zambrano-Montes in downtown Pasco on February the 10th. Now, you might remember just after 5 o'clock that afternoon, police got a report of a man throwing rocks at the cars in the area of 10th and Lewis in Pasco. Officers Adrian Alanes, Ryan Flanagan, and Adam Wright confronted Zambrano-Montes, who then began throwing rocks at the officers and did not obey their commands to stop. He was tased by both officers Alanes and Flanagan, but the taser did not have the desired effect, and the officers fired 2 groups of shots. The first volley did wound Zambrano-Montes, who was still able to cross the street. The second volley of shots killed him just off of the corner of 10th and Lewis. Now, the killing sparked several days of protests and marches through downtown and calls of protest against the Pasco PD for what some in the community, in particular Latino groups, are calling a repeated pattern of excessive use of force. The Special Investigations Unit, led in this case by the Kennewick Police Department, conducted a several-month-long investigation, and Prosecutor Sant has been slowly releasing the results of that report to the public over the past several weeks. Now, the report indicated that at the time of the shooting, Zambrano-Montes was extremely high on methamphetamine. According to some witnesses, he was making suicidal statements, telling officers to shoot him. Officers Wright and Alanes remain on paid administrative leave from the Pasco Police Department. Officer Flanagan has since resigned from the force. Now, just last week, attorney George Trejo, who represents Zambrano-Montes' widow and 2 daughters, filed a $25 million lawsuit against the city of Pasco, the Pasco Police Department, Police Chief Robert Metzger, and the 3 officers involved in the shooting, Alanes, Flanagan, and Wright. That suit alleges that the 3 officers used excessive force in killing Zambrano-Montes, and that department is following too broad a standard in deciding when force is acceptable. Trejo believes that officers in this case are being treated with kid gloves. Now, I'd like to read you a portion of an email that we just had forwarded to us from attorney George Trejo. Again, no official announcement from Prosecutor Sant yet. We're awaiting his presence at the Franklin County Commissioner's Boardroom at the Franklin County Courthouse. But I do want to read you the text of an email that we just got forwarded from George Trejo, and it reads, "The wife and children of Antonio Zambrano are extremely disappointed with the decision by Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Sant not to charge the 3 City of Pasco police officers with any crime in the execution of their loved one, Antonio Zambrano. His claim that there is insufficient evidence to establish any crime beyond a reasonable doubt is a pretext for his decision to protect law enforcement from the very beginning of this case. We are not surprised by this decision, but disgusted and disappointed." Again, this is an email from attorney George Trejo, who is representing Antonio Zambrano-Montes' widow and his 2 daughters. "This is precisely the reason," as the email continues here, "why we continually asked for an independent criminal investigation to take place. Instead, the prosecutor displays his lack of courage to do what was right. Prosecutors throughout the country have had the intestinal fortitude to do what is right and do so quickly. In Santa Clara, Los Angeles, San Bernardino, New Mexico, Baltimore, South Carolina, and other jurisdictions. The Franklin County prosecutor should have permitted a criminal jury to decide whether or not the officers should have been criminally culpable for killing Mr. Zambrano, be it first-degree murder, second-degree murder, or manslaughter." Let's take a live shot of the podium at the Franklin County Commissioner's office. Again, we are waiting for Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Sant to appear at that podium. We're awaiting his presence at the Franklin County Courthouse. Again, according to an email that I just read you a large portion of from attorney George Trejo, who represents Zambrano-Montes' widow and his children, there will be no charges in this case. Now, that's according to the email. We have not obviously had the official announcement yet from Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Sant. To finish the email, "Our team of attorneys shall continue to fight for the unrepresented people who are otherwise powerless within Franklin County." So that is a large portion of the email from the attorney representing the Zambrano-Montes family. We can also tell you that following the news conference, which is about to be held by Prosecutor Sant, the city of Pasco, which has been named as a defendant in a $25 million lawsuit, as well as the Pasco Police Department, will release a statement concerning the decision. We do not believe that city officials or the police department will give any on-camera interviews today, but we do expect a statement, and we are being told that Franklin County Coroner Dan Blaisdell is going to conduct a coroner's inquest into this case. There's been a lot of discussion recently over the last few weeks about the disconnect between the prosecutor's office and the coroner's office in Franklin County concerning this case. From the beginning, Coroner Blaisdell has stated that he wanted to hold a coroner's inquest, which basically, although not legally binding, would help determine responsibility for the shooting through the evidence. That was his desire. He has not been able to do so, in large part because he tells us he has not been able to find a place to hold that inquest because the court calendar in Franklin County is booked solid. There has been disconnect, as I mentioned, with the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office because Coroner Blaisdell did not want a decision made until the inquest was held. As you know, obviously, Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Senn is going to move ahead with his decision and announce it to all of us here in just a few moments. But there is going to be, as we reported, an inquest held nonetheless from the coroner's office. We're going to step aside just for a moment here. We've told you what to expect. According to an email from Attorney George Trejo, he claims, and he represents the Zambrano-Montes family, there will be no charges in this case. As we await Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Senn, we're going to step aside for just a few moments, and we will rejoin you live as soon as he is at the podium. And welcome back, everyone. We interrupt this programming for a live breaking news report from your local ABC. Once again, I'm Kevin Uretsky. We're coming on the air because we're about to hear from Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Senn on whether or not he'll file criminal charges against the 3 Pasco police officers involved in the fatal shooting of Antonio Zambrano-Montes in downtown Pasco back on February the 10th. Now, if you were with us just a few minutes ago, we read you a portion of an email that we've received from the attorney representing Antonio Zambrano-Montes' widow and daughters, claiming that there will be no charges filed by the prosecutor's office in this case. As well, the Franklin County Coroner, Dan Blaisdell, has told our Catherine Hessel that because there are no charges expected here in the criminal investigation, that he will nonetheless hold a coroner's inquest into this case, a coroner's inquest normally held to determine responsibility for a shooting, although it's not legally binding, or a coroner's inquest determines responsibility for a death. Although not legally binding, the coroner still plans to move ahead with his plans for an inquest. Let's take a live look now at the Franklin County Commissioner's boardroom at the Franklin County Courthouse. There you see Sean Senn, the prosecutor, on your left at the podium. Let's take what he says live.
Mexico had made a request of me to give them 50.
You've just heard the official announcement from Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Senn that there will be no charges filed against officers Adrian Alanes, Adam Wright, or Ryan Flanagan in the shooting death of Antonio Zambrano-Montes back on February the 10th at the corner of 10th and Lewis Street in Pasco. As the prosecutor takes some questions, we will continue to record that news conference for you. You saw Pasco Police Chief Robert Metzger as well on the right side. Let me recap some of what the prosecutor said for you. He talked about the incident itself and its description and the reports and the comments from witnesses that Antonio Zambrano-Montes on that afternoon was not only throwing rocks, some of which were more than 4 pounds, but that he was reportedly saying several times in Spanish that they should kill him, that the officers should kill him. As well, Prosecutor Sant letting us know during this news conference where you just heard from him that throwing a rock, which can be constituted as a potential deadly weapon, is a Class B felony. Therefore, according to the law cited by the prosecutor, it is lawful for officers to use force in an attempt to arrest a person committing a felony act who could potentially cause physical harm to anybody else. As well, the basic final decision from the prosecutor here, There is no proof that the officers did not act in good faith or that they acted with any malice towards Antonio Zambrano-Montes, and there is no way that he could prove before a jury that there was any intent to injure and no proof thereof. So that's the final decision from Prosecutor Sean Senn. Again, no charges against officers Adrian Alanes, Ryan Flanagan, and Adam Wright in the shooting of Antonio Zambrano-Montes. We will have a complete wrap-up for you tonight on your local ABC at 5 and at 6:30 tonight. In the meantime, good afternoon.